really, out of the three movies, I've got one movie that I've never seen, but is widely renowned as one of the best
He's considering a movie
G
he's
or
never
PG movies to
watched.
come out. Yeah. Another one is
With
a
his
movie
first
that
pick.
I watched.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Whoever said orange was the new pink was seriously disturbed.
And when it comes to huge openings, a lot of people think of me.
Just call me a fuck ass.
Brilliant. Scary. I get nasty when I'm horny.
Welcome to Not Another 2001 Movie Podcast, a show that dives into movies that came out during the first year of a chaotic century. And today, we're going to make a map to help guide us on that journey. I'm Josh.
I'm Allison.
And I'm Slate.
So at the beginning of each regular episode, this is our first episode, so things are a little different, obviously. The person guiding the discussion, sometimes it'll be me, sometimes it'll be Allison, sometimes it'll be Slate. That person will pose a question to the other co-host that ties into the movie we're going to talk about. But the pilot episode, we're going to answer a few big questions. And the biggest one, of course, is why are we doing a podcast about movies that came out in 2001? So, Slate, you have all the answers. Let's tell the people why we're doing this.
Well, 2001 was 25 years ago, right? So it's cool to see where we were then as people and as a society, what pop culture references were going on at that time versus like how we look at things today. It's also just cool to kind of look back and see the process of how movies were made, the storylines, what generations they've sparked past or since then till now. And just a fun overall discussion about, days of our past, if you will, and just different things. I mean, there's so many, people that have started out in small things and become bigger characters down the road. And 2001 is just a great jump off point. There's a lot of great discussion, not to mention what's going on politically with 9/11 happening that year and everything else. But it's just a lot of great discussion that we can have between three friends. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little thing called 9/11. It didn't have any ramifications really beyond that year. We're not dealing with any of the fallout still.
I mean, you walk around campus now, and there are plenty of kids who do not know what 9/11 is.
It's wild.
I can speak from personal experience, yeah.
Wild.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think about that when I train interns in my office. I ask them all the time about things that they know, and I just go like, oh, I assume you just don't know anything about this singer I'm talking about or whatever. I don't even think I'm afraid to even bring up 9/11. That'll make me go gray. What little hair is up here is going to be gray.
I think that's really the moment when I truly felt old at work, is when I'm throwing out like Simpsons references and Seinfeld references, and my team is just kind of looking at me blankly, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I think that people, I was gonna say, I think that people look at us like people that haven't or that weren't around to really remember 9/11 look at us kind of how we looked at like the Kennedy folk. Like if you were around during Kennedy's assassination, that's us now, which definitely makes me feel old.
Yeah, I think about it in terms of World War II a lot too, because it's one of that anything. I think probably prior to September 11th, that would have been the biggest defining moment, maybe, other than like the Revolutionary War in our country's history. And we're all American, by the way. If you're listening, like I think if you couldn't pick up on it, we're all American here, and I think that was something. World War II was the thing I remember growing up, and that was the hallmark moment. And now I got to live through a couple of them. We've gotten to live through a couple of pretty landmark events in our country's history,
to say the least.
Yeah. So like Slate and Allison said, we're doing this to. It's largely a reflection podcast, about we're all millennials. You're a millennial, right, Allison? Like
I am a geriatric millennial, so that's what I bring to this podcast. Is I am barely 82. I think 81 starts the official millennials. Yeah, so I am a good 10 years older than the both of you. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I was born in 91, so yeah, close.
Okay, 9.
Yeah, I'm a 90 baby, but I think I look like the oldest person on this screen.
That's just because I'm wearing a hat, Josh. If I wasn't wearing a hat, I'd be right there with you, brother. So
yeah, Allison won't ever be in the club. So.
No.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. The way this world is going, I don't know.
But it also sprung from a few things. I reached out to both, so I'm friends with Slate and Allison, and they've got to meet each other and get to know each other a little bit through our pre-planning of this. And back in the summer, so we're recording this, and it's fall of 2025. You'll hear it, start of the new year, January 2026. But back in the summer of this year that we're recording in, I had a couple of things. I've written a book, and me and another buddy who also has written books, he and I were talking about some ideas for things that might make for like something like things that people should maybe write a book about. And he brought up Shrek, and which is a movie I think plenty of people have seen. It's something that's obviously memed to death. It's tons of things have spawned from it that people recognize in pop culture, but it's not something I care about enough to dive into and write a book about. But that got me thinking about the year and looking more into things that came out in the year, which is 2001. Shrek came out in 2001, and then kind of at the same time, New York Times and a lot of other places around the country were doing their best of the century so far list. And the thing that really, quote unquote, triggered me, we aren't 25 years yet into the 21st century. The 21st century began in the year 2001. The New York Times, in theory, paper of record for America, I think most people would still agree that that's the case. Maybe it had 6 movies from the year 2000 on their list, and that kind of just set me off because one of those movies is Oh Brother Where Art Thou, the Coen Brothers movie. George Clooney, all the bluegrass music, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I know it wasn't released in 2001, so unfortunately, or that would have been my number one pick today.
Only if you sing "Man
so
of Constant Sorrow." You have to sing.
I'll sing it. I'll still sing it. We can go out with that. But it was thinking about that got me thinking like, well, maybe it's worth writing a book about the year 2001 and the movies that came out that year, just because it is the start of a century that, at least for millennials and I think a lot of people, that just being the first year of a new century, a new millennium, a new whatever, however you want to characterize it, is a pretty monumental thing. And I think that year, especially once you start looking more into the movies, which we're going to be doing over the course of this year, really is a really interesting year in film and what it says about who we are or who we were in that moment as just a society, American, but also just worldwide. And then kind of where we are now and how we've changed, and maybe in a lot of ways how we haven't changed, and maybe how we've evolved in the time since then, and then gone backwards in some cases, I think. So I don't know. To me, I don't want to keep a monologue in here. I think that's kind of the how this came together, how we all kind of came together to talk about this. I started reaching out to people. I reached out to Slate because he's had a podcast in the past. I'm sure he can tell you about that in a second. That he's one of the few people I personally know that does this and has done experience doing this. And Allison I know she's a big movie fan, and we just kind of casually were talking one day, and she said you just happened to say it as I was planning this, so that she would want to do something like this. So it was just natural that that she it's like she knew. It was serendipitous. she knew what was going on.
Oh, this is going to be interesting because I will get more into it when we get to this episode. But thinking in 2001. Is like the year that I actually started to appreciate movies as an art form. And it's because I saw Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
That's what did it for you?
It is. It's what, and I will go into detail on that episode, but it kind of changed my life because up to that point I had been much more of like a music person and movies. We grew up in the country. Like it was 45 minutes to an hour to go to a movie. It's just not something that like my family did a lot. Another reason I probably don't like animated films is my parents did not take me to see I've never seen The Lion King
Whoa.
to this day. Still, right.
Oh.
Whoa,
I'm serious.
she's
My parents
dropping
never
bombs
took
to start this episode, bro. That's crazy.
It is, and the only if they showed like Beauty and the Beast or whatever at school, that's how I saw those movies. But yeah, never made it to The Lion King. Never seen Aladdin all the way through. But yeah, 2001, something like switched in my brain, and then I really started getting way more into movies than I was into music.
Okay.
Well, I think that's interesting. I love that characterization. Well, one, the Lion King thing. Like, that's just, we're going to have an episode just about
Right.
why you haven't watched it.
There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen.
We're gonna have to unpack it.
You're gonna be appalled.
But it was also, for me, I realized this when I was, I wrote a book. I wrote a book about the history of Power Rangers, which is like my favorite TV show. If that's something you're interested in, I encourage you to go check it out. But as I was writing that, I started just, you get in a nostalgic mood when you're doing something like that. And it made me think, this year, 2001, was the year, I wrote about this too, that I could engage with media in a way that I could remember things about it, and started having like reactions beyond like, oh, I like that, or oh, I didn't like that. It was around this time period, 2000, 2001. And I bring that up too because there was the season of Power Rangers at the time, Power Rangers Time Force, was affected by 9/11, and it was something that I was following in real time. They aired episodes that then got cut and edited down because of the amount of buildings getting blown up in Power Rangers. Spoiler, that happens a lot throughout the entire history of the show. But at that time, they were more sensitive about it, and they recut episodes to kind of, I guess, make people feel safer or whatever. But it was, so that moment in time too for me was, even though I was already a movie person, I was always more into movies than TV or music, but I remember engaging with stuff on a not a super deep level by any means, but in a way that I was starting to think about them a little bit more around this time period.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say for me, like, I always grew up being just in love with movies and music. To me, they almost kind of go hand in hand. But like you, around this time, I feel like I started to maybe discover the formula of like movies. You kind of start to be able to predict things and figure it out before it happens, or know what's kind of gonna come next as far as like following the same recipe. But I think there's a lot of films in this year that kind of flip that on its head, where things kind of change and they kind of Hollywood starts to pivot a little bit and say, like, the audience is kind of getting fed up with the same old. There's some really good original concepts in this in this year as well. So like, I think that's one of the reasons that makes 2001 such an important year for film, is that the originality. You don't have a whole lot of sequels. You don't have a whole lot of, there's essentially no superhero movies like we've talked about before. Things like that. So yeah, I mean, that's for me. Yeah, same way. I was into movies, loved it, but this was the year where you really start to kind of become more knowledgeable about it and dive into it deeper. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting place to go. I mean, Chris, I think for me and you, Slade, it was just, we're like 10, 11. Yeah. Like we our brain cells are starting to connect a little bit better. I'm really interested in Allison, though. I mean, because you would have been in college, late high school.
Yeah, sophomore.
So, and I mean, I know you brought up Lord of the Rings, so we can get to that conversation when that episode comes, because it will come. Because and we'll get into a minute for people, what we're doing. And I brought up building a map, because there's a lot of movies and we can't talk about all of them. I think if I remember correctly, we did this. We all looked through this list, and there's like, if you worldwide, it's close to 5,700 movies were released in 2001. And the definition of movie and that's according to IMDb, and the definition of what a movie is might be a little loose at times on IMDb. But regardless, there's a lot of freaking movies released in 2001 and most years. So no show that lasts as short as ours is going to be. We're going to try to aim for a year long, one year and out, where we're going to enjoy the year and do what we can in that amount of time, and we will venture to do it justice. Though I think we're all looking at this in a way that we're going to come together and really talk about the movies that matter the most to the world and some of the movies that matter the most to us. And I think it's going to be a great way to try to tackle this year. So before we get into the format and kind of what we're getting ready to do, is there anything else you guys would like to say? Talk about ourselves. I know I've gave the people a little bit about my background. Anything you guys would like to share with the audience?
I'll start as my cat comes up. I'm a cat lady, so first of all, I own 2 adorable little kitties. But no, I'm Allison. I am, we'll say, a communications professional, and I actually work with Josh quite a bit in that capacity. And honestly, I just did this because I'm so excited to have some people to talk about movies with, because I'm the person that wants to go see a movie and then wants to have an in-depth conversation, and most of my friends are like, I mean, yeah, I liked it. It was good. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. No, let's talk about why it wasn't good. Or why was it good? And people just don't want to go down that rabbit hole with me. So I'm kind of excited to have a few people who are willing to really get in the weeds on some stuff here.
So for me, Slate, like Josh said previously, in years past, I had a podcast before. It was called Silver Screens and Speakers. It basically revolved all around just reviewing movies and music. A lot of times they would go hand in hand. Sometimes they would go separate. We would do stuff that was, brand new that just came out. We would do retro episodes that for years past. And the whole reason why I started it was, like Allison, I love to talk about movies. For me, I love to talk about things that create a great discussion, whether it's, like a debate topic or just personal interest, or how somebody might react to a film, but I also am the person that really enjoys finding like a gem that most people don't know or haven't heard of, especially when it comes to like movies or music. I want to be able to introduce that to people and give them a reason to go check it out, because I love to hear people come back and tell me whether they liked it or not and why. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it. So like for me, going into this first episode where we're kind of picking what movies that we want to kind of take the lead on for this year, it's going to be interesting to see what you guys pick. For me, like, I'm going to have some definite favorite choices, but I'm also going to have choices that, like, I'm picking it because I think the conversation surrounding this film is the most interesting thing about it, and that's what excites me. So that's where I'm at. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, you nailed the last bit there, because that's been the toughest thing for me. And again, sorry, audience, you're a little bit out of the in the dark on what we're doing. But when I was evaluating my picks, the conversation, it was like I was always going back and forth. Like, what is this? Do I want to do this, because I like it, or do I think the conversation could steer us in an interesting direction? And that's tough. I think that can be tough, because I think all 3 of us are very intelligent movie lovers who could make a good conversation out of any movie. So I think that's where I think we will only get in our own ways, I think, if we think too much and worry too much about it. But it's fun. I mean, I think it's fun, because also the thing for me that was really challenging is the diversity of conversations that could come up. And I think some of that's going to be informed by how the draft goes. So without further ado, we'll actually explain what we're doing.
Yeah, Josh, tell the people what we're doing, man.
Yeah, well, we're just almost 20 minutes in. I think if they're still with us, they're still with us. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of movies that came out in 2001, and we're roughly going to have 52 episodes, maybe a little more here and there, depending on our time and some bonus things that could come up. But we're looking at this as we've got this first episode, then we've got you for roughly 50 more to talk about the movies that we're wanting to discuss from this year. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to do a draft. If you don't know what a draft is, if you're listening for some reason don't know what a draft is, typically it's modeled after like a sports draft. At the end of those, most teams that are in most sports, the worst teams get the best picks in the next, like, that year's draft. So like in the NFL, the Bengals, my Bengals, they suck. They could, in theory, end up with the number 1 pick this year. They probably won't, but they'll be in the mix. And they suck. They're the worst team, so they're going to get the first pick in the next year's draft. Like, let's just pretend that's the case. So, and then it kind of goes backwards from there, from the teams that have the next worst record, and so on and so on and so on. So we don't have records. we come into this blind. So ours, when we do that here in a second, we're going to randomize our order. But what happens in a draft typically is it's a snake order, or a reverse snake order. So say I get the first pick, Slate gets the second pick, Allison gets the third pick. Well, then in the second round, it goes the same direction. Allison gets the 4th pick, Slate gets the 5th pick, and then I had the 6th pick. And then at the top of the third, I get the 7th round, and so on. That's how it snakes. But before we get to that, we have certain things, some rules around our draft. A lot of movies qualify automatically based on some criteria that I think we all agreed on. I don't know. I kind of just put it together, and you guys.
No, I think it made the most sense. Like, they're definitely like,
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
I'm like,
I think
no
I think
notes. This is good.
Yeah.
Cool, because there were some like clear like no-brainers in this year that you would want to talk about, regardless of how you approach this year in a podcast format. These are a lot of these movies are things you would always talk about. So the first 10 things we identified as automatic qualifiers were the top 10 grossing movies at the domestic box office. And domestic's an important distinction there because, we are kind of an American-centric group of people, obviously. And it doesn't change much. I don't remember it changing much, especially among these 10 films when you look at the worldwide and domestic, but it might slightly alter the order of like what's 1 and 2 and etc. And then when you get into the like lower amounts, that's when the worldwide kind of gets kind of goofy. So I just wanted to keep it to domestic. We're talking a lot of American movies here largely, so I think that's a good way to go. So those 10 movies are, you've probably heard of a few of these. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which led the box office, $317 million. That'll be a fun episode once we get around to it. No controversies whatsoever around Harry Potter. It'll just be a quick, clean episode.
I also haven't seen that movie since I saw it in the theater.
I mean, to be fair, the first one's not. It's probably the least interesting of the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Columbus kids movie. I remember being like, oh, that was fun, and felt like I never needed to see it again.
It's the one I've probably seen maybe not the least, but it's down there because I'd bet Chambers of the Secrets is probably the one I've seen the least. But then Allison's favorite movie, or her transformative movie, however you want to describe it there, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, $313 million to just, and that's why I brought up the worldwide. It may have actually been the worldwide leader. We could go back and look at that later if we want to, but that would be I think it's between those two, regardless of which list you're looking at. Shrek, we've talked about Shrek a lot. It was number 3 at the box office that year with $268 million. Beat out Monsters, Inc., which was number 4, which is notable because Disney, I think it was probably the first time an animated movie that wasn't made by Disney was the top grossing animated movie of a year, which is something I imagine we will get into once we talk about both of those movies. Rush Hour 2 with $226 million. We've had some discussions about these sequels that are in this list. There's not a lot of sequels like Slate mentioned, but a lot of the sequels that are in this year are in the high grossers of the year, which is a little bit of probably a preview of what's to come in the ensuing decades after 2001. The Mummy Returns, another sequel, $202 million. Pearl Harbor, $198 million, and something I imagine we'll discuss once we get around to Pearl Harbor is how kind of weird it was that movie came out in this year.
Yeah.
Once given how things played out after the summer. Ocean's 11, $183 million. I would say it's certainly, I don't know if I would say it's the best movie in the top 10 grossers. I mean, Lord of the Rings is a great contender there too, but I mean, certainly the back half, I think. I mean, I don't know if anybody would disagree that it's the best movie in the back half of that list. Unless you're a real big fan of Jurassic Park 3 or Planet of the Apes, which round out the top 10.
Hey.
And that's not Planet of the Apes, a 60s reissue. That is Planet of the Apes from Tim Burton.
With Marky Mark. Let's go.
Yeah,
So-
every movie on this list, with the exception of Pearl Harbor, is part of a franchise. It either started a franchise or, was just a few movies in.
Yeah.
I bet Bay would have been all over Pearl Harbor too if they would have let
If
him.
it worked. Absolutely.
Okay, hear me out. Let's stage another Japanese attack, and then I'll make a movie about it.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to get around to Pearl Harbor.
Okay, so other than the top 10 grossers, we got a couple others, right, that have made the list of movies that we're not going to touch in order to get to our other 30 that are going to spark some conversation. So what are those films and what's that criteria, Josh?
Absolutely. So, Best Picture nominees, and that's an important thing to note because Lord of the Rings is one of the few films on this list that is a multi-qualifier because it was nominated for Best Picture this year. The Fellowship of the Ring was, but it's already in the picture, so we don't have to worry about it. So these were the other four that were nominated that year. A Beautiful Mind, it was the winner, directed by Ron Howard. Gosford Park, and it's an import. I'm pretty sure it came from. It's a
British film,
not a foreign language film, but it's technically a foreign film, I guess, depending on how you want to define that. In the Bedroom, and Moulin Rouge, or is it? It's Mulan. It's Mulan, right? I'm saying that.
Yeah,
right?
Moulin Rouge. Yeah.
So those are your four Best Picture nominees that will automatically be discussed as part of our conversation, and then a few more Oscar movies because, and I know I'm sure we'll have this conversation as we get through some of these movies, but the Oscars aren't the end all be all in terms of like what the best movies in a given year are. I think if you did the whole Oscars over Fellowship of the Ring, it might be the movie that should have won that year.
Yeah, thinking
arguably.
A Beautiful Mind winning in retrospect, I'm just like, oh God, that movie is so milquetoast.
Listen, they had to give Russell Crowe something, okay? Okay. However, I'm starting to catch the vibe. I may be the only person that's not a Lord of the Rings fan on this podcast, and that's okay. I'm interested.
Well, so I've had that conversation with Allison. I'm not a big fan of those movies either. Now, and I'm saying that as someone who hasn't watched them since I was in middle school, and wasn't like trying to keep myself awake through a 3-hour sit down.
Right.
So I'm excited to revisit them. I'm excited to go back and watch them, or at least the first one as part of this. So I am excited to revisit it because I think now it's something I think I would have a lot more appreciation for than I did then.
I look forward to talking you both into loving that movie. To infecting you with my enthusiasm for that movie.
Never gonna happen.
So a few more Oscar movies, though, to kind of get us closer to... So we have 20 automatic qualifiers. I failed to mention that earlier. So we're at, 14 so far. So our next few are it's a couple wrinkles. So originally I was like, okay, let's get the best foreign language winner and the best documentary winner and the best animated winner. Once you start looking at the future foreign language list, though, and the future animated list, you end up with some movies that win in future years, not in the category of the year that caters to 2001 films, but they were still released in 2001 in their country of origin. So they're getting included too. So the winner for best foreign language film at the 74th Academy Awards, which is the ceremony that honors the 2001 movie release year, is No Man's Land. The following Oscar ceremony, the 75th Awards, Nowhere in Africa is the winner for best foreign language winner that year, but it originally came out in 2001 in its country of origin. Then we have Murder on a Sunday Morning, which is the best documentary winner at the 74th Academy Awards, and a classic that I think a lot of people, I would imagine this is a movie I think some people would say should have been the first animated movie it maybe should have been nominated for Best Picture. I think a lot of people hold this opinion. Spirited Away. It was the best animated film winner at the 75th Academy Awards. So it was technically its story was it came out in Japan in 2001. It was released in the States the subsequent year. And so that's the year when it was honored at the 2003 ceremony. The Oscars were really fucking confusing. So we're going to try to just keep it at that and not worry too much. And finally, a couple of other movies that originally we were at just 18 qualifiers automatically, and that was I thought we had a really good list going into the draft. And then we were this came up. These were the last minute additions, or not last minute, but they came up pretty recently. We were having conversations leading up to this recording. These two movies came out in wide release 3 days after the events of September 11th, 2001. And I think what we'll probably do once we get around to these movies, we'll probably combine them. They'll be part of the same episode. We'll talk about both of them in the same episode. Probably. I imagine that's how we'll end up doing that. But I don't know. I think it'll be fun to talk about what they meant to people possibly in that moment and what they mean now, and it's how they performed, and just the weird what that must have been like for people that went to them at the time. Those are Hardball, which stars Keanu Reeves, and who else is in that film? Slate, I know you're a fan of it.
So Keanu Reeves is obviously the main character. It's Diane Keaton or Diane Lane? I think it's Diane Keaton. She's in it. and I'll double check that. But Michael B. Jordan got his start in this film too. He's a very young child, plays a pretty pivotal role in this movie. And then I believe your guy Stilo Brim is also in it from the Ridiculousness show. That's kind of how him and Michael B. Jordan, I think, became like really good friends growing up. So yeah, but Hardball, I'm super excited for. It's got if you're into not to plug another podcast, but if you're into the rewatchables, they have a category called That Guy.
You knew it.
And Tiki, who's like the best friend in this movie, is a definite that guy that you would run into.
And the other one is just as significant in terms of its impact on.
That would be John Hawkes. Diane Lane, not Diane Keaton. That's my bad. Sorry, Diane.
Existed until we started doing this. So
I always get them mixed up. Always.
Sure. I have no idea. Very different movies.
That's the one with Lily Sobieski, right?
Okay.
I think I have seen that. I'm gonna look that up now. I get like The Glass House and Life as a House mixed up sometimes.
Life as a House.
And Glass House, Shattered Glass, Life as a House. There's all like some of the same actors too. Yes. Lily Sobieski, who like I thought was going to be much more of a thing because she was in so many movies.
This is crazy. Yeah. Diane Lane is in The Glass House also. She was in 2 movies that released the same week.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Determined to make Americans feel better.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh God, can you imagine her agent just being like, "Oh shit."
Can you imagine her agent a few months from now when I call her to try to see if she'll come on the show?
It'd be amazing.
Oh, that's great. That is.
How common is that though? That somebody has the same movie in theaters like the same week?
I wonder, going back to that time, I bet it was more common than
That's
it
what
is now.
I think. It's people. There's much more shifting of schedules. I feel like there's a lot more of that kind of chess now to avoid, one movie cannibalizing the other for a reason like that. Than maybe it didn't matter as much back then.
And especially if, like, because just from what I know from reading the movies, I know about the movies. She probably is a fairly central character in Hardball, and might just have like a one scene or something in the Glass House. I know that
she's top bill for both
too. Oh, okay, wow.
Okay.
Well, top bill. Marketing can do some funny things. Ask a guy who knows. So that's our automatic qualifiers. If you have somebody, or if you have questions about that, we'll be happy to answer them later. But we're not going to answer them right now. We're going to keep marching forward. All of the automatic qualifiers are in the books. We know who is not eligible to be drafted because they're already in the show. But we have a lengthy draft to conduct here, guys. So before the draft, we could have done this a lot of different ways. We could have just done it 10 movies, pick 10 movies and have at it. And I think we could have come out with a great list that way too. I really think if we just done it that way, we would have had a pretty banger year's worth of movies to talk about. But I wanted to make it a little more
I was going to say, where's the fun in that,
So we came together, and in between the 10 of us, or the 3 of us, we're going to each draft 10 movies. And they each have to be from a category. And those categories range from things that make a lot of sense, genre stuff, things that you can kind of immediately recognize, and then some things that are a little bit more esoteric that we'll get into here in a minute. I know a few of them are really, really kind of fun. So, and I think just drafting will make for some interesting conversations around a few of these categories. So I'm going to run through these, and in some cases, there's only a certain amount of movies that are eligible, and we all know those, and we've looked at them. But I'm not going to sit here and run through those movies because I don't want to just be here a guy reading off movies. But I will make sure that that's linked to in the show notes, so that's something if you're listening and want to go look through that you have access to that. So the categories are the Criterion Collection. So these are movies that were released in 2001. Either in America or in their country of origin, and are included in the Criterion Collection's physical media collection. So that, if you're not familiar with the Criterion Collection, they are a long-time media distributor, started back in the Laserdisc days. They did a few VHSs, DVDs, Blu-rays, now 4Ks, etc., all that good stuff. I'm a big proponent of physical media personally. I own a lot of Criterion stuff. I own a lot of, janky stuff too. It's not like I'm some snob that just watches Criterions or whatever. But I'm a big fan of physical media, and I'm a really big fan of what they do in particular because, they sort of set the bar for everybody that's in this space. There's other distributors, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, a lot of other things that have popped up that are great at what they do as well. Criterion was sort of like the one that started the charge. And so this is just a way to force us to, one, have conversations about physical media probably, but also these movies are also, they're not art house all the time, but they kind of lean more into a more defined kind of selection of movies. It's not necessarily maybe some things that are off the beaten path. So it kind of forces us to think about talking about some things that maybe a lot of people haven't seen as much, or they haven't talked about as much. So that's one thing that I think that category brings to the table that's interesting. And it's only like 12 or 13 movies. There's only a pretty concise list of what's eligible in that category.
I was going to say it's kind of sorry, no, I was just going to say it's kind of like an early 2000, like 2001 version of like what we do nowadays with the Sundance Film Festival films, like a collection of just different type of movies, and that's what I kind of relate it to. So, yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. Absolutely. No, yeah. No, don't apologize for talking, bro.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Category 2 is Bling Bling. These are movies that made, and I'm some of the I leaned hard into the 2000s era slang.
Cheesy.
Here, so sorry, right out the gate. Bling Bling. These are movies that are not in that top grossers list, but that made $50 million or more dollars. That was just a kind of arbitrary cutoff. I could have went higher, could have went lower. I think 50 million. I don't know. 50 million sounds good to me. I think that's a good number of dollars.
I think back then that would have been a good amount of money to make something a hit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was looking at the domestic gross from last year, and it's just crazy how inflation, and we're like, oh my God, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine made over $600 million. And I'm like, well,
I think now that I'm glad you brought up the inflation, because I think I might have landed at 50 million because it gets to, I think it was either right near or right at 100 million if you did the inflation on that. I don't, or maybe it's pretty high up there. So maybe it was like 80 million or something, but I know it was a amount that I thought, okay, that sounds pretty high in terms of like movies that made a lot of money but weren't the top grossers. And one thing to note there is A Beautiful Mind, and I believe one other movie that's in the mix in the other categories is technically on those lists, but they're not obviously eligible for those categories since they are already automatically included. I'm Scared Dog. That, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Horror movie.
Yeah.
It has to be, for all of these categories, something feature length. I know there's one exception that, you know, we could take something that's technically 60 minutes. I don't know, feature length, when you get into feature length, because today, sometimes feature length is anything over like 50 minutes, which seems like really short to me. But that's not a problem we have to worry about back in the good old days of 2001. Sweet, which is a category we've had some off mock conversations about that I think we're going to have an interesting way to wade through this category. It's movies that are you know, family movies, kids movies is how it's been defined. Nothing that is rated above PG. I think it's a little loose in terms of how you could approach that maybe, but I don't know. I think it's kind of, you know, it's a kids category. You want a movie that's appropriate.
Slim pickings.
Children.
this one was tough. Yeah.
Allison wasn't showing up to the theater to watch Jimmy Neutron with her college buddies.
I think there's just more
always
kids
took her as a
content
Mewtwo
out
type
now
girl.
too. You know, I just feel like there's more stuff for kids that comes out that to even choose from. But maybe,
Fair.
yeah. I was not the target audience at the time, so.
Booyah, a fictional action movie. Action, I don't know, I think pretty straightforward. I think there's, you know, action lends itself to a lot of things though, right? Action comedies, action thrillers, action horror. Action gets you into some pretty interesting space in terms of how you can diversify within the category. LOL, straightforward, again, comedy. Shout out to the LOLs. I still way too often end my sentences with LOL instead of periods.
It's the millennial. Every millennial does that. You finish your sentence with LOL to let people know that you're, you know,
You're kidding.
You're kidding, or you're being funny or chill. One interesting thing here is like that the comedies is my longest list here because there were so many, and I'm like, God, they just don't put that many comedies in the theater anymore, and I really hate that. I really miss like going to the theater and being really surprised by something that turned out to be really funny.
The last comedy I remember, not the last one that I saw in the theaters, but the last one that I remember going to, and like everybody in the theater was just like in it, dying all over it, was The Hangover. And that's been 14 years, 50, maybe longer than that. I mean, that's that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have next up Keeping It Real, which is a movie based on real events, real people, it's rooted in real life in some way. And I think this is a category I'm really excited to see how this plays out for the three of us because I think, depending on how you interpret it, it's something that can go a lot of different directions. And of note, it has to be a fictional movie. You can't take a documentary. That's something that we agreed on. This category actually used to be a documentary category, and we all decided, yeah, would be a more interesting path forward. So, Awesome Sauce, another really corny 2001 bit of slang. One that I never really used. My sisters used it, and they're a couple years younger than me, both of them, and I'm I don't know. I never did the Awesome Sauce thing. I don't know if that was more of a different type of person that pulled that one out, but
I don't think I ever used that. Weak sauce occasionally, which should have been your name for the next category, by the way. But
you could have changed it. We had the notes. You could have went in there and did a little dash through and because that would have been better. Instead, it's called sketchy, but we're going to adjust on the fly. It's weak sauce. AKA the worst.
Oh, okay.
the IMDb's worst, and worst is we've defined it pretty broadly. Did we land on 4.9? Right, we landed on 4.9 or worse, right?
Yeah, and the partly because when we were going through, was it like less than 4, like 3.9 and lower? And there are so many movies that are so bad they don't appear to exist anywhere where you can actually watch them, which would pose an issue.
Yeah, 3.9 would have been challenging. And it also, 4.9 was something that it opened up a way more movies. Like, it was weird to see how much bigger the list got from just expanding it 1 point. And then also opened up a lot more movies I think we'll probably draft and that people have seen or that people might recognize or have heard the name at least. And it's something that makes it... I look at a 5. To me, a 5, if you rate a movie, it's like average. Like, it was okay. So to me, and that might be different for everybody, but for me, a 5 is like, that's your baseline. So if you're under a 5, you're going towards being something bad. So
Most excited about this category, to be honest.
I'm excited about it too.
Slate's actually drafting his whole draft from this list. Like,
Yeah.
You really could.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much. Yeah. I'm actually torn on a couple picks for this category.
I did not have that much trouble with this one, but I did pull a lot of movies. My issue was I didn't get to watch everything that I wanted to experiment with in the IMDb category, the worst IMDb category. I don't know. That one might be just in the moment how I'm feeling, because I do have a couple I've written down that I think I would consider. So, so for those first 9 categories, it's sort of wrong for me to say first 9, because we can draft when we approach our draft. We can draft from these categories at any time we want to. So when we do our picks, we're going to select our movie, talk about it, and say, as early as we can, because the conversation will flow us some different ways, what category we want that movie in. And that's important because a lot of things are eligible in multiple categories. And so, say, I'm just going to use some of the automatic qualifiers, for example. Say I wanted to take Harry Potter as an action movie, like the Sorcerer's Stone as an action movie. Just say was my choice. Well, that is strategic in a sense that it takes probably one of the movies someone would have taken in the kids category off the table completely in the kids category. So that's sort of the thinking behind drafting from categories at any point we want to do. The only exception, and I say exception, we can talk about this if you guys want to change this up, because the more I've thought about it, the more I think there's merit to including this in the list of it can be whenever, is wild card. That is literally any movie that came out in the year 2001. Doesn't have to apply. You can draft another comedy. You can draft whatever you want to.
That's how me and Slate are going to get some other IMDb's worst in there. I think.
Yeah. 100%.
They're going to be fighting for Freddie got fingered at the end.
Yeah. She can have that one.
Ooh.
She can have that one.
Oh.
But no, I mean, I'm cool. Like, I was originally cool with the idea of leaving that as like the last thing, because then whatever I've got left as I'm marking off, I can just kind of prioritize my favorite one that I have. But if you really want to get wild and throw it into where you can call your wild card with your first pick if you really want to, then I'm here for it. Let the chaos ensue.
What do you think, Allison? The more I've thought about it, the more I'm thinking it might just be fun to see how it might throw a wrench into things midway through the draft.
God, no, I want to do it at the end.
You want to do it at the end? Okay.
I want to do it at the end.
Okay, well,
But I might be outvoted.
We can leave it as is, because that's how we sort of planned for it. So I think
Okay.
that's probably the way to. Let's leave it as is, and we'll contend as such. So the next thing we need to do is figure out our draft order. We've talked about it. We decided we were going to decide it live with the listeners. So let's do that. I was planning on just doing like a random number generator on a website. Is that cool with you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust me? Is there a way for me to show my screen? Oh yeah, there is. I can share my screen here. All right. Can you guys see?
Yeah, there we go.
Hell yeah.
Okay, there it goes. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm just going to pick random.org. So Allison, Slate, Josh, Slate, you have the first pick. Slate
No pressure.
Slate has the first pick, Allison has the second pick, and I have the third pick. So that means I'll have the first pick in the second round, Allison will have the second pick in the second round, and Slate will have the third pick in the second round, and then so on. So we can just keep that in mind. I have actually
palm rubs here.
I'll be keeping track of our selections in a Google Sheet as we go. So now I have to figure out how to get myself back to where I'm not sharing a screen. Oh wait, stop. There we go. That was easy enough to understand. Okay, am I back? I feel like I'm back.
You're back.
Sweet.
You're back.
Cool. Well, we can. I don't know. Do we have any music? I can add it later in post, but we need to play the NBA draft music or
Little drum roll.
Yeah. Some round ball rock, you know.
Round ball.
Throw the on the clock.
Do we want to analyze? So, how do we think Slate's gonna approach this pick, Allison?
Yeah, go ahead. What do y'all think I'm gonna take in the first pick? I'm curious to think.
No, I don't want to give you any ideas.
You don't give me.
No.
I've got mine. Ideas
Well, I know
made,
Slate's.
so.
I mean, he's a big horror fan. I think anyone that's listening will come to find that. I don't know that you would go horror with your first pick though. So.
Yeah. All right. So here's where I'm at. I've got two categories that I think are the most limited. Each of those categories really only have 3 picks that I'm comfortable with or that I really enjoy. So I'm excited to get one of them off the board now, but I'm also like, oh my God, that turn, those next, 5 picks is going to be brutal. So I'm going to start with Sweet, the kids category or the G or PG movies. I've got to get it off the board. Have to. And so really out of the 3 movies, I've got one movie that I've never seen, but is widely renowned as one of the best
He's considered a movie
G or PG
watched.
movies to come out. Yeah. Another one is a movie that I watched. Another movie is a film that I watched, when it first came out a couple times, and I haven't seen it since. But I enjoyed it, but I really don't remember much about it. And then the third one is a film that I saw in theaters when it came out. It's got a great director attached to it. It's an interesting conversation, but it's not one that I'm technically really all that interested in. So I'm going to go with the second film, which would be Atlantis. That is going to be the first overall pick for me. I've seen it. I remember enjoying it as a kid. I'm excited to talk about it whenever we actually get to it. It's crazy to think that that's my first pick. It's not the most important movie to me.
Yeah,
but
that's
I feel like
interesting.
I feel like if I had to get kids off the board just to do it. So yeah. When these other movies get picked, I'd like to talk about them and why I decided not to go with them. And I'm probably already regretting not going with the movie that I didn't see, but that's okay. The floor is yours.
All right. Now, Josh, do I stay in the same category or jump around, or does it
No,
matter?
you can
No,
jump around. I
whatever
mean,
category
obviously,
you
I
want.
know we've all talked about sweet being a category that's pretty limited, so it would make if you wanted to stay there.
No,
obviously.
I'm going to stay in this category, and I'm going to choose a movie that I actually like, which is The Princess Diaries.
Ooh,
There you go. That was gonna be my first pick, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, well,
So
it's not going to be too bad for you, I don't think. Of all
I'm excited to watch it.
looking through all like the family friendly movies, I was like, oh god, this is the only one that I would actually want to watch again.
just from
Also,
I would-
the movie that made Anne Hathaway a star, really.
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. I will definitely not be drafting from Sweet since I don't have to worry about it now for the rest of the draft. That might be my last way I go, other than wild card.
There you go.
But because there's no way the movie I'm taking is getting picked for any other category. I guess it is technically eligible in comedy and probably action, but just between those two, I think I've never seen Atlantis, so
I haven't either.
I think Princess Diaries is an excellent movie though. So
I think Atlantis is kind of one of those movies that didn't do well when it first came out. It didn't, but it kind of got a cult following, and it was pretty popular with the kids. Like when I was, obviously I was in 5th grade when the movie came out, and I remember a lot of kids at school talking about it, and we would watch it, in middle school for school days and whatnot. So I've always been a fan of like the theory of the lost city of Atlantis, anyways. And yeah, I wanted to go with Princess Diary because it's a good conversation to have about Anne Hathaway and just the movie itself. But I figured it would be better to give it to somebody who's seen it and has maybe a passion for it before I took it. So that's why I didn't go with it.
something immediately of note about both of those movies is I believe they both were eligible in the bling bling category. So that's something it made that category a little weaker for everybody.
If we took those in bling bling, there would be no Sweet left.
Yeah.
I will not be taking this movie, but there's like a really deep cut PG movie with Blake Foster in it, which only Matt, like, you guys don't know who that is. I think Christopher Lloyd's in it too, so you do know who that is. But
Yeah,
Blake Foster is he is the blue Turbo Power Ranger, and he's like the Kid Ranger in the Turbo movie. And I considered it just for that reason, like just to give us a reason to talk about Power Rangers. But don't worry, that'll come. There's plenty of ways to connect Power Rangers to these movies.
of course there is, Josh. Of course.
So I want to take the movie I'm going to take. I think regardless of what category I take it in, is The Fast and the Furious. I love The Fast and the Furious. It is. I rewatched it in the lead up to this draft. It was one of the few movies I rewatched that I had seen before leading up to this that I remembered liking, and after I watched it, I loved it even more. Like it's a really freaking good movie. The worst thing I can say about it in the immediate is that it is hard to remember that it is the Fast and the Furious, and then they later released Fast and Furious as one of the movie sequels.
Don't forget, they also released The Fast and Furious, which was part 4 also.
Yeah.
It's quite a confusing
The era of it's so 2001 too, because they're stealing, is it TV, DVD, or TV VCR combos? Is that the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's amazing.
It was the opening. It's like this is it. Like I'm drafting this fucking movie now. So here's where. So I've brought up a few times leading
Great
up to
choice.
this draft that my first selection could be potentially controversial, and it was because I want to take it in Keeping It Real. That's where I would like to take it because the movie is based on a magazine article that dove into car culture, these street racers. And I wouldn't even argue for it because it's not really a real story. Like it's inspired by this magazine article. It's not like the movie is not about these people in the article. It's about the culture of this. It was inspired by the culture, but they made a big deal about that in the marketing leading up to the movie's release. It's like all the DVD, like I bought the DVD leading up to this to kind of watch it that way, kind of go back in time. the DVD supplemental features are really go in on, like, there's a whole, you can read the whole article on the DVD, like it's like part of what, like, okay. So that's my argument. If you don't, I will avoid further comment on that and let you guys decide my fate, because I will take it.
It's a stretch, but I think I'll allow it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, my first thought is, if it's not posted like in the credits either before or after the movie, where it's like based off this article, I don't think it should count. But it's a pretty interesting argument that you raised there, like about it with it being in the special features and stuff. Like Allison, I don't love it at all, but I think I'll allow it.
All right.
I really don't like it though. Like, I don't like it at all.
To be clear, don't care for it.
I'll put a big asterisk on the selection when we, after the draft. I'll put out all our things as graphics, and I'll put a big asterisk on mine. Like that's I got the home run record, that's but at what cost?
All right, can we just go through this though? Like, can we just talk about something? Like, there's movies based off Muhammad Ali's life, a drug criminal's life, Black Hawk Down, Rockstar. You've got all these other, like 61 with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris, and you're over here picking Fast.
You're literally like naming my list, Slate. So don't take.
I'm just going through the category. You just shit on all those people's lives, okay? Muhammad Ali is rolling over in his grave right now.
So here's my confession. There's only one movie eligible that was like easily eligible in that category that I watched, and if either of you guys draft it, I'll strip naked on this phone call. Like, there's no way. It's a very like small movie. And I didn't even know going into it when I watched it that it was based on a real story until I was reading about it afterwards. And I was like, holy shit. Like, because once see the movie too, it's like, whoa. Like this is pretty wild. But I've never seen Ali. I haven't seen, and I should have gotten into this a little bit at the top. Another impetus for this show was, at least for me personally, was I want to watch these fucking movies. I've never seen a lot of these movies, and it seems like a really great movie year to me. So it's just given me the challenge to kind of explore these for the first time in a lot of cases. So of course the first thing I took was something I've seen like 1,000 times, but it's based on a true story. I had to.
Yeah. Oh, I hate you so much.
So I have another pick. So that's the fun part about being at the end of the round, is you get to go again. And I'm going to take another movie that I'm going to take a movie that I hadn't seen before doing the prep for this, and that is Training Day.
God dang it!
I'll take it in. This is tough now. The category, the selection isn't tough. It's the category. I'm taking it in my bling bling.
Okay.
Which I don't think, that probably isn't, that doesn't hurt people too much, I don't believe.
I've actually not seen Training Day either.
It is awesome. It's, probably a little, it's one of those things. There's a lot, something I noticed, a lot of things I at least watched leading up to the draft were a lot of use of the R, word getting thrown around pretty casually, which is something that's, it's coming back, I guess. So I don't know, but it's not something I personally enjoy, but it's beyond that. I think, just casual, little things that you pick up on that I'm sure we'll talk about a lot over the course of the year. But Training Day is fantastic, and I knew it enough about going into it, about like kind of a little bit what to expect, but I was still like pretty blown away. It's easy to see why Denzel won his best actor award for this. I mean, he's pretty amazing in it. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, back to me.
Yep.
All right, I am going to hop on over to the very stacked comedy category so I can get my top comedy, which is Zoolander.
Ooh.
I remember seeing this one in the theater.
Okay.
Young Alexander Skarsgård.
And the way Hansel combs his hair.
Or like doesn't. It's like, excuse me, but have you ever heard of styling gel?
Is that why you picked Zoolander?
It's just interesting when you go back and watch a movie like that and you see there's so many people playing bit parts that then became much bigger, and he was one of them that, you know, he gets in the gasoline fight with them when they were listening to Wake Me Up Before You Go, and I was like,
Okay.
I never, you know, watching it later, I'm like, oh, did not realize he was in this movie.
I think that's a fun one because I think it's also one of those movies that's been like reclaimed in like, it might have made a lot of money back then. I don't recall, but I remember people like hating it, like, or at least critics hating it. Now I think it's like held up as like probably one of the best comedies from that time, which is always fun to. I think a lot of genres end up doing that, like comedies, horrors. I think it kind of approach the same way a lot of times. So that's fun. It's been a while since I've seen Zoolander. I'm excited to rewatch that one.
Okay. All right. So
All right,
it's on me, right?
Number one, Sweet.
Okay.
Taking IMDb's worst next.
No. I am going to go to the awesome sauce drama thriller category, and I will be taking Christopher Nolan's Memento. I think that's just an awesome film.
I didn't put Memento on my draft board because I thought you would take it. That was one of the few things I was like, I was pretty confident you would find a way to take that, so I just tried to avoid it.
Yeah,
Awesome
I mean,
movie. Awesome. Nolan's fantastic.
yeah, it's, you know, Nolan's first big film. It kind of sets the table for a lot of his other movies as far as how, you know, the surprise ending and everything goes. Guy Pearce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Guy Pearce is just amazing in it. So yeah, love Memento. Felt like I needed to go ahead and get that off the board. For my third round first pick, I'm going to head over to the Booyah action category. Since Josh took one of my films that I had and he put it in Keeping It Real, I've only got two left that I really want from this category this year. And so for my guy DMX, Where My Dog's At, I'm going to go with Exit Wounds.
I am intrigued to watch this movie.
I have not
so
seen this
good.
one either.
I bought it to watch in the lead up, and I just didn't. It was one that I didn't get around to.
Listen, you've got DMX, you got Michael Jai White, Steven Seagal, Tom Arnold, Anthony Anderson, and Eva Mendes. What more do you need? It's amazing.
That's pretty good. I'm curious. Would you guys I know you haven't seen it, Allison. Training Day. Would you have put that ineligible as an action movie? Because I was a little bit unsure. Like, it's thriller, obviously. I thought in drama, like, it was kind of like on the fence as an action for me.
It's about police, detectives, and drug bust. You can put it as an action. I had it more in the drama thriller. Like, it would have been in my drama thriller or my bling bling.
Because there's
category.
only like a couple of real action scenes, you know, like it's not like Fast and the Furious, which is, you know, constant action. You know, it's, or this. I assume I'm taking your word that this is just action packed.
All right.
Exit Wounds.
Exit Wounds.
Yeah. Exit Wounds is it's action for sure.
All right, pick 3 for Allison. What are we working with?
I'm gonna hop over to our bling bling and get my top pick there because I really want to talk about it, which is A Knight's Tale, which is one of the movies that really, really solidified my love for Heath Ledger. First time I remember seeing Paul Bettany in a movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved the mashup of, they're trying to make it a period piece, but it's got all that anachronistic, you know, they're playing Queen and modern music kind of mashup. And it seemed like it should have been really cheesy, but it really worked for me.
That was as I mentioned, Slate and Memento. I didn't have a Knight's Tale on my board for the same reasons, Allison. I knew just enough about you because you were like, I know Slate's taste a little bit. Me and Slate are college. We've known each other since college. For the listeners, I've known Allison for a little while, but not obviously that long. And A Knight's Tale had come up a few times in our conversations. Like, okay, I feel like she's definitely going to probably try to take that. So I'm just going to leave that be. I've not seen it, so it's one of those that I haven't seen still. So eager to watch it. R.I.P. Heath Ledger too. By the way, that was such a. That's the first celebrity deaths that hit me.
It's the first time I cried, like hearing that a celebrity had died. Yeah.
So I'm not sure where I want to go. I feel like because of how deep my list is for it, I should do thriller drama, and that's a little kind of confusing because I have a deep list, which suggests I like a lot of these movies, but I really want my top movie still on the board, and it might be my top movie for the entire year. But I also have another movie on the list that I'm not sure either of you would draft, and I want to really want to talk about it. And it's the only category that it fits in, so I'm really conflicted. Okay, I'm avoiding the top of my board on this category, but I'm going to go ahead and do thriller drama and take Donnie Darko.
Okay.
Because I am pretty confident my top pick will get taken, and I'm fine not leading the conversation on it. I just want to make sure. I hope we talk about it. I'll be disappointed if we somehow don't talk about it. But Donnie Darko's great. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I have. I haven't seen it in a while.
So it was one I had seen. I saw it for the first time. I think I think I might have been a freshman in high school, and I have a late cousin who he sort of turned me on to a lot of a lot of my interests in terms of just like comics and a few things or not turn me on to those interests, but he lent me things that like helped me kind of learn more about some of the stuff I liked. And Donnie Darko was one of those movies that he lent me, and I was like, I remember watching it back then and being like, what the hell did I just watch? And now and Stephanie, my wife Stephanie, she and I watched it in the lead up to this because it was something I was like, I'll probably want to take that, but I want to watch it again. And I really liked it. And she enjoyed it, and it was something that it was much different than I remember though. I was so glad I rewatched it because it was like drafting it from memory. It's like this is a much more important movie in terms of what it's trying to say than I remembered it being. So
yeah, definitely an interesting conversation around that film. Listening to just kind of how it was written and everything about it, like. Because I've listened to multiple podcasts about that film and the backstory behind it. It's definitely one that 2001 we should absolutely be talking about. So
was it Noah Wyle in that? I feel like when I was watching The Pit and kind of reading like what's he been doing, and I feel like he was in one of the few things he did was Donnie Darko.
He is, yeah. I had to look it up. He's kind of like a side character or a bit character, but he's in a few scenes. He shows up. So, The Pit. I still need to watch.
Oh my God! This is awesome. My public service announcement for everybody to please watch The Pit. It is so good.
Is that the Apple series that you're talking about?
It's on HBO or HBO Max.
Okay. It's basically like the ER spiritual successor.
It is. Right? It is. Structured like the show 24, in that every episode is an hour of a shift in an overworked trauma emergency department and working in healthcare and working with these people. It's so realistic and so true to life and just so good.
Slate, you might not know this. Our buddy Trey, his husband, is a cameraman on the current season that's in production of The Pit.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. Shout out, Mike. I will be taking for my next pick and my back-to-back picks here. I've not taken. Oh, I did take my bling bling. Ooh, oh no, that kind of screwed up my strat there. There's a movie that I hadn't seen literally until this week that I'm going to take in my. Oh man.
Yeah.
Man,
that's what you get for taking Fast and Furious and keeping it real.
I screwed up with Train today. I should have put that in my in my action category, or at least tried to contend it. Oh, screw it! I'm doing my horror pick, and I'm going to select The Devil's Backbone.
Okay, that's gonna be your I'm scared dog.
Yep, that is my I'm scared dog, and that takes one movie out of the Criterion category, and I'm not sure if that's something you guys would have taken, but I really like that movie, and it's almost. I think the one wrinkle is it's a horror. It is definitely a horror movie, but it's very muted in its horror. It's more like an atmospheric horror, and it's a Spanish movie. Guillermo del Toro, one of his. He calls it and Pan's Labyrinth. He kind of talks about them in the same breath a lot of times, because they're both sort of set in the Spanish Civil War era, as those are his favorite movies that he's made. So, and it's really good. It's a beautiful movie. So,
speaking of that, I just started watching the Frankenstein on Netflix, and
oh yeah,
I dig it so far. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro, he's always he does an amazing job just making sure everything looks beautiful, whether you're into the movie or not. Like, the cinematography is just A1. So the set pieces for Frankenstein are exquisite.
That's why Pacific Rim is legit. It's as a movie, it's so bad, but I love Pacific Rim. It's giant robots fighting giant monsters, and they look so good. Like, just the look of that movie, because he directed it, makes it completely worth it to me. It's so dumb, but I love it so much.
All right,
I'm always here for big monsters and robots. You ain't gotta sell me. I love Pacific Rim.
All right, round 4 for me. All right, I'm gonna go over to the drama thriller awesome sauce category and go with American Psycho.
Oh, I don't think
that was 2001. Is it?
No?
Hold on. Yeah, that's a 2000.
Fuck!
Yeah.
When did it come out? Did it make most of its money?
So that's something. Yeah, that it's possible that
it probably was a December release.
April 14th, 2000. So that's not going to say
okay.
either.
Thank God we don't have to watch that movie, because I hate that fucking movie. I hate that movie.
I think it's just an interesting movie. An interesting movie to have a conversation about. Well, the list I was looking at has failed me, so I will go down to the next one on my list, which is Vanilla Sky.
Okay. All
right.
That's fun.
Which I've been meaning to rewatch, actually.
I am. That's something. Another one that I kept off my board, but I had never seen it, and it was on my list to watch before this, and I'm intrigued. Just from, I'm pretty excited to see how that goes. Just from watching it, just to see what I think about it. And I'm sorry, you're taking that in which category? Your thriller?
Yep.
Cool. I've got two little lists going on here. I've got the list of our draft order and the list of to fill out our category. So if anybody gets lost along the way.
Okay. I am gonna go. I guess I'll start in Bling Bling, and I will be selecting Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal. That will be my Bling Bling. Since Training Day, got took, I'm gonna settle for Hannibal. Hannibal definitely wouldn't have been like a top pick. I do love the movie, and also Ridley Scott fucking rules. So, I'm always down for anything Ridley Scott, Anthony Hopkins. But, it was my third choice. I had Training Day and Fast and Furious both listed ahead of it. And then I really only had one other film in that category that I was okay with selecting, but it wasn't something that I was passionate about. So felt like it was time to get Hannibal off the board. And I'm going to divert a little bit here and go to the Criterion collection now. I'm going to pick a movie that I'm actually really excited to watch. I've probably ruined it for myself by doing too much research on it before watching it. but I've seen documentaries that have talked about just how important this movie is. And when you start to get the kind of the premise of it and everything, and I think it creates a just amazing discussion about Hollywood at this time and what it was in 2001. So I got to go with Mulholland Drive. I'm really excited about this film.
Somehow I knew that was going to be your pick there.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I was really leaning for the others because it's like, I mean, Nicole Kidman had a really good twist to it. And it was really like one of the only films out of that collection that like I specifically remember and being kind of like going back to saying, oh, hey, they're kind of switching the recipe on us. I think the others is a prime example of that. But I think Mulholland Drive is a more important discussion. And so I'm excited to get it this late in the draft.
That was the movie I was pissed off that I'd screwed up the Training Day thing. That's because or not the Training Day, the whatever it was a minute ago when I was like thinking about my categories, because Mulholland Drive was I skipped over it to take Donnie Darko.
Oh, yeah. I think you could have let Donnie Darko cook for a while.
Well, the problem is with Donnie Darko is it doesn't fit into any other category. Like drama is kind of the only place it can go.
See, if we were playing the wild card early, you could have.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess I could have played it that way, but I'm just glad Mulholland Drive got taken. I would have been shocked if it hadn't got taken, but you never know.
Yeah, no. Okay, all right. So yeah, I'm off the board now with Hannibal and Mulholland Drive. So Allison, it is on to you.
I think I'm going to go over to something scary. This one's tough. This one's really tough. There's a lot to choose from. Are
you a horror person, Allison? I can't remember.
Yes, I don't love torture porn. I mean, like, the first Saw movie I liked, but beyond that, I'm like, okay, like, you've taken any elegance out of it. And slasher movies, I don't tend to like all the Freddys and Jasons. I liked kind of the original incarnations, but as they go on, I'm kind of like, but yeah, I do like a lot of horror. I think we talked about one of my favorite things I saw recently was was it Talk to Me?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, Talk to Me and Bring Her Back are both like.
Bring Her Back. I haven't watched it yet, but I know it's the same directors.
I like Bring Her Back. Oh, I didn't know it was the same director. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that makes me want to watch Talk to Me more now.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I'm actually, this is at the bottom of my list, but I think I really want to talk to it. Joyride. For this, just for the Steve Zahn of it all, because I love Steve Zahn so much.
I think you just pulled the fast one on Slate there.
I thought I could let it cook for a while, man. I'm not gonna lie. Ouch, that one hurts. Great choice.
And how can we get him on this podcast? I'm
glad he got selected.
Yeah, that's our number one mission.
To get him on this podcast. He lives just up the road.
Oh yeah. Got to get Steve Zahn on the podcast for sure. He's in that and what is it? Driving Around in Cars with Boys with Drew Barrymore. Like that would be kind of a cool joint episode, honestly, both surrounding cars too. So.
Oh yeah, and that's a good point. A good time to bring this up for the listeners because obviously we're drafting movies and we're probably like you're probably thinking like, oh, my favorite horror movie's not even got a chance of getting drafted or whatever. We're going to approach these episodes in a way where a lot of them will be just about the single movie, but we're going to look at things and think, is there a natural good fit for like a double feature to just to broaden what we talk about more. Ideally, if we can get to about 75 or 80 movies over the course of 50 episodes, I wouldn't have any issue with that. I think that would be fun. So
you're telling me that because Allison selected A Knight's Tale, she also has to lead the conversation on a Black Knight with Martin Lawrence? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, if we deem that necessary, then yeah, get your Martin Lawrence facts ready, Allison.
I got some homework to do.
That's going to be her sketchy pick.
Yeah.
Just to avoid the combo.
All right, JMO.
All right, Josh. So it's on you. And then, do you want to after this first selection, before you go into your second one, you want to maybe like do a recap of where everybody sits? We're about halfway through, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think that'd be good. Yeah, we'd be through 5 rounds at that point. I am going to select I'm having a hard time with the action category because it's certainly the one that I have I think weakest list of just things that I considered, and I'm not even sure that the movie, like the next thing that's on my list, I think it's questionably action. I don't know. I'll let you. We can talk about it because I'm not. If you swordfish is what I'm thinking about taking.
Ooh.
And it's not like it's another one of these things where I think there's a few scenes that are pretty actiony, but it's not something. I'm not going to be heartbroken if you guys want to knock it down because it's certainly not something I'm married to in that category.
I actually haven't seen it. I mean, I kind of know the premise of it because I've read about it some, but I don't know enough to.
Well, here's what I'll say. When you pull it up on IMDb, the categories it's listed under is cyber thriller 1, heist film 2, action film 3, and then crime and thriller as 4 and 5. So I guess you could do that. I'm okay with it. Because I do think it's a good movie that deserves to be discussed. So
when I think about it, I'm glad you said it's a good movie because I went into it with very low expectations, and I'm not even sure that I came out of it with higher expectations, but I really liked it. So
there you go.
So
there you go.
So fuck the haters.
It's like one of my favorite podcasts. I listen to a lot of movie podcasts.
I mean, the Metascore is like 38.
Yeah. But in the We Hate Movies podcast, when they make fun of bad movies, and they admit that, like, we know some of these movies people really like, and they're like, it's okay to like a movie. Let's just get that up front. It's even if it's trash, it's okay to like a movie.
Absolutely. Even better if it's trash in some cases.
Yeah.
Someone's
Halloween Part 6.
I did.
It's terrible.
I did have Jason X on my list for action. That's how kind of barren my action list was.
For action. I hate you.
I mean, a lot of my action category was built around I'm taking the Fast and the Furious if they say no to keeping it real. Like, that was how I kind of constructed my consideration.
Then you should have just done that.
Well, it opened up it made it to where keeping it real was something I didn't have to think about too much. So,
but there's so many good choices in keeping it real. Oh lordy. Okay, fair enough.
Alas.
All right.
Well, now I got Swordfish and the Fast and the Furious, so look at me.
Yeah.
LOL is a category that I'm with Allison. Like, it's pretty stacked, and I narrowed it down to a handful of movies that I really liked. Two of that I hadn't seen before this, and one of them is eligible elsewhere, and I'm thinking about taking it there. And if it's probably not too hard to narrow it down. So I'm going to take, I'm down to a movie that I grew up with, and my sisters loved it, and I watched it a lot with them, and a movie that I had never seen until this week, and that honestly, it's in a genre that I don't even particularly like. And I'm going to take that movie, Bridget Jones' Diary.
Oh, I'm so glad you picked
Bridget
it.
Jones' Diary. I'm taking Bridget Jones' Diary. I really liked it. I was surprised because I'm not a rom-com person, and it's such a. I think it's of the movies that we've talked about. I think in some ways it's one of the most important or influential or culturally relevant of these movies that we've drafted so far. I think it's an interesting, in terms of that. So, and now I get to lead a discussion of it, even though I have no history of it.
I had that movie in multiple categories. I was really hoping it wasn't my top in any of them. And I was like, I'd really hoping people talk about it. I don't know if you didn't watch it back then, but the big controversy was it's based on a book by an English author, and the fact that they hired Renee Zellweger to play this famously English part had people like all tore up. But
I was reading a little bit about that. I'm excited. I think it'll be a fun way to, and honestly, a big part of it for me too is like I'm a former journalist. I still do some of the side on the side. I mean, she's a journalist in the movie, a much different type of journalist, but that was part of it. And then it was a cute movie, and also I think the conceit of it's interesting, even though I had some opinions about how they carried it. And also, it spawned a franchise. Like, I was like stunned at how many of those freaking movies they've made, and like that Renee Zellweger's just cashing them checks.
Mm-hmm.
Keep getting it, girl.
All right, back to me. This is getting tough. All right, over to our action. And this came up listed as an action movie. I think that's probably a little bit debatable. But Evolution. Ooh. We talked about that before, Josh. David Duchovny.
Mm-hmm.
Sean William Scott. See that?
Sean William Scott.
Weird
Orlando
alien,
Williams.
Yeah, alien movie.
I love this in the action category. I think it's action.
It is. It's a very fun action comedy. I'm excited because I didn't have this on my board, but it was one of those movies that Orlando Jones, not Williams, but I didn't have it on my board, but it was one of those ones that I was excited to definitely hope to spark a conversation about. So great choice.
I think it's one of the most iconic posters from that year. Like,
for sure.
Even if I think probably everybody's seen that poster.
Mm-hmm. David Duchovny cashing in on all of his X-Files goodwill.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good pick.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So for me, I get to do two here again. I'm finally going to get around to my keeping it real. And I think you both know, at least Josh definitely knows what I'm going with here. We're going to go with the Hughes Brothers film based off Jack the Ripper, starring Johnny Depp and Heather Graham, From Hell. I love this movie.
If you've taken anything else in this category.
Oh, I'm going to be honest with you. 61 was definitely a film that I really wanted to take. As somebody who loves baseball, and just like seeing the chase between Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, I think Barry Pepper is amazing in that movie. Billy Crystal making a directorial debut with that film. 61 was high up on my list. But From Hell just kind of hits me, like in my horror bones. So, yeah, we're going to go with From Hell because I think it's interesting too. Not only is it based on a true story, but it clearly takes a lot of liberties with, Jack the Ripper and figuring out who the killer is and stuff. But I just really enjoy that movie. So we're going to go with that. And then...
But before you do your next pick, Slate, I'm sorry, I've failed to do the recap.
That's all good. Go ahead.
So
I didn't want to bring it up.
We're through 6 rounds, so just to brush everybody up, to let and ourselves up, so we know kind of remember what's been taken. For Slate, his list so far is Atlantis: The Lost Empire in the sweet category. I still can't believe that went number 1 overall.
I don't know, man. I really should have went with Fast and Furious or Training Day. I don't know.
My draft would look a lot different if you'd taken either of those movies. Number 1.
I didn't want to get stuck with Spy Kids. Okay.
Memento as his. What you took that
Awesome
in your drama?
Sauce.
Yeah, Awesome Sauce. Exit Wounds in Booyah. Hannibal in Bling Bling, Mulholland Drive in the Criterion Collection, and From Hell in Keeping It Real. Allison, who's selected second overall with The Princess Diaries in Sweet, Zoolander in Comedy, A Knight's Tale in Bling Bling, Vanilla Sky in Awesome Sauce, Joyride in Horror, and Evolution in Booyah, which is I think that's might be your best, not your best movie, but your best pick. I think that was a real creative way to go, Allison. I like that a lot.
Allison's got quite the comedy list on her right now.
Yeah. I'm
fitting them in wherever I can.
4 of your 6. Like, I like it because I'm not as a big, like, I like comedies, but I'm not like it'll be tough for me to squeeze another one in my list. So I think I'm glad we're going to have some laughs. For me, I took the Fast and the Furious overall in a very controversial Keeping It Real selection. Training Day in Bling Bling, which is the first mistake I made in the draft. Donnie Darko in Awesome Sauce. The Devil's Backbone in I'm Scared Dog. Swordfish in Booyah. And Bridget Jones's Diary in LOL. And my draft, I think, started really strong, and now I'm wondering where I went with it. But, I like my movies. So Slate resumes at the top of the 7th round. We have 4 more rounds for everybody. So a lot to go.
It's funny. I feel the exact opposite. I definitely felt like I started weak. I wanted to get the weakest category out of the way for me. And I'm kicking myself for not getting Training Day or the Fast and Furious. But I do like the way I'm shaping up. I think I've got some good choices here. And keeping with that, I'm going to roll over to the LOL category. Josh, when you were talking about your LOL choice, you were talking about, Bridget Jones's Diary, which you took, and a film that I think I believe you were leaning towards the pick that I'm going to go with, and that is Joe Dirt.
Okay,
No.
that is not what I was talking about, but
Okay.
that what I said about it certainly would have fit that what I said.
You was talking about growing up on it and watching it. I mean, my sister
I've watched Joe Dirt a ton growing up.
Yeah, my sister and I and my father, we quote Joe Dirt to this day. I can't tell you how many times you tell somebody home is where you make it. Life's a garden, dig it. Joe Dirt.
This is amazing. We're just going to bring dad puns for that episode. Does everybody bring your 10 best dad puns?
But I definitely think it in the LOL category, it was my top pick. There's another film that I really want to talk about that I hope it goes. But to me, Joe Dirt had to be selected. Why are you laughing at that being my top pick?
Joe Dirt wasn't on my list, and my list was fairly long. But...
I had it on my list, just not under comedy.
Really? Oh. You had it in the sketchy category? Is it 4.9?
It didn't make my sketchy category either.
That's wild. That movie is a treasure, okay?
I'm not saying it's not. I'm looking forward to rewatching it, actually.
I'd put off buying it at Goodwill like several times to just see if it got drafted before I did it. So.
All right.
Oh, that's fun.
American Pie 2 is still on the board.
Well,
I have to look because you renamed the categories and I made my list before they were renamed. I keep getting confused. All right.
Oh, my bad.
I'm going to go over to Keeping It Real. This is kind of a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Ali. Be
Very
curious
nice.
to... I'm pretty sure I saw it back then. I don't really remember. But it'd be interesting to see, when Will Smith had all the goodwill of the world before he ruined it all.
Slapped it out of Chris Rock.
Slapped it out of Chris Rock. And then won another Oscar 20 minutes later.
Oh, yeah, he did.
What a weird night.
That will be a fun conversation for sure.
I'm eager. That's an interesting movie. I don't know where it's streaming, if it is. The one thing that's interesting about it is the DVD. It's really hard to find at least a out in the wild DVD of that movie that isn't the director's cut. That's what I have. And it's like, if I watch it, I'd rather watch the theatrical release for given the, context of our conversations, but we'll see where it goes. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere.
Was that Will Smith's first Oscar nomination?
Probably.
I want to say it was.
Because, like Independence Day. Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You forgot about Wild Wild West.
How could I do
you
that?
said Oscar, not Razzie, right?
Right, not a Razzie.
I love Independence Day. That's my personal favorite Will Smith movie. But
Oh, it's on Tubi.
Okay.
Ali is
All
on
right,
Tubi.
bet.
So there you go.
To anyone listening, Tubi is like king.
Yeah.
Like, most of this stuff is on. A lot of this stuff is on Tubi.
Well, there were a few movies that I had picked, and then when I tried to find them, I'm like, it's going to be like they're not streaming anywhere. And
Worst case scenario, you can rent them on Amazon Prime for like $4, right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff is available that way. And there's a lot of. I mean, I tell this to people all the time. I mean, I know not everybody has a DVD player or whatever, but DVDs are like $1.50 at Goodwill, a lot, at least around here, and that's just go snag a disc. You'll feel better.
I still have my whole physical media collection, so
I'm glad you kept it. I'm glad you didn't.
No, I kept
end up selling it.
I kept mine, and then I've come back around to. I want to start buying stuff again because stuff disappearing from streaming and cuts of the movie being changed, and then like I've had experiences where like my internet's gone out and I still have power. The last time that happened, my friend John lives just down the street, so I had no power. He had no internet but did have power, and we were like, oh God, what are we gonna do? And he got his DVD player out, and he only owns one DVD, and it's the Mothman Prophecies. And I was like, well, I guess we're watching the Mothman Prophecies. I think he sold all of his other stuff. For some reason, that's the only one he still has.
I wish I could take the Mothman Prophecies as my next pick. I like that movie. So my issue is my categories. I don't love the categories I have left in terms of, because I'm really curious. I guess the thing I'm left wondering is what Allison's going to take in the Criterion category. That's the thing that makes me really. I'm curious to see because I have that category left. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take my Criterion pick with the next pick because I have to make two. I'm going to take Ghost World in Criterion. I mentioned to you guys that I bought a couple things, one to watch and one that I'd seen that I was thinking about taking. The one that I'd seen that I'm thinking about taking was Ghost World. It's on Tubi. I watched it on Tubi and really liked it. And I like personally connected with it a lot. Just some of the things that it's a kind of like there's a collector at the center of the story, and it's something that I'm a pretty hoarder collector, however you want to describe it. So I related with that guy. So and it's not ScarJo's first movie, but it's like her second movie, and she's really good in it. She's kind of like the co-lead or second lead. The other
Thora Birch is the other one.
Yeah, Thora Birch is the main. She and Steve Buscemi are really more the two leads, and the other ScarJo's kind of more on the side, but she's essential to how everything plays out. And so I think it's a good movie that I hadn't watched until leading up to this, and I really liked it. I wish the other movie I was considering for the Criterion after. Because I had Devil's Backbone in the horror category, and I didn't think anybody else would take that probably. But I really wish we'd find a way to talk about it. So if you don't take it, Allison, I think it'll be one that I try to find a way to work it in. And it might come up in another. I think there is a double feature potentially in one of the automatic qualifiers that it could fit, but we'll see how it goes. So I have to make another pick, which I'm less prepared for because it's some of my. I'm really digging. I've got my. I guess I could break the seal on sketchy for all of us, because no one's for some reason that one's been. Dude, there ain't no way you're thinking about the movie I'm taking. The movie I'm taking is pretty shitty. I think it's rated like 2.7 or something on the list.
You went deep. Okay.
I went pretty deep. It is not Cannibal, unfortunately. Me and Allison talked about Cannibal, which was like the Hannibal trying to rip off Hannibal the same year. As fun as that would be, I'm gonna go with .com for Murder.
Okay.
You guys seen it?
No, you could have saved that as your last
crickets.
pick, bro.
Well, I wasn't taking it in wild card. I can tell you that much. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's not bad. I'll say this. It's not bad in a way that I think it's just trying to do. It's in some ways it's not trying to do enough, and it's trying to do a lot at the same time. And I think the thing I think the most about it is it's sort of, it gives us a vessel through which to talk about how dating has changed over time and since the advent of the internet. And the director the guy director at Nico Mastakis, I'm not sure how I'm saying his name correctly, but he's pretty notorious. He's like a C movie director, kind of somebody like that. So this was a direct to video release that it was made in ahead of it screened at festivals and stuff in 2001, but I don't think, from what I remember, I don't know if it actually came out in it was a direct to video, ended up direct to video. I think it was like maybe 2003. So if you guys have objections to that, we can because I guess technically we could say it's not a 2001 movie, but it's kind of
Look
listed
at you with all these technicalities in your list,
Yeah.
Josh. Like, come
You
on.
made
There's
you
so
made
much
the categories, and you're bending every category.
Right.
It's in the IMDb list for 2001, and it's like on its official DVD releases and stuff. It says 2001, but it's an awful movie too. So I don't want to. Do you want me to pick something worse?
Oh God.
Okay. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, you can. We can start with it.
All right.
It could be our first episode.
Okay.
No.
Back to B. We have
Yep.
three left, right? Or I have 3 left.
Yeah, you have 3 left. Yep.
All right. I think I'm going to go over to the Criterion Collection. This one's actually really hard. But I think I'm going to have to go with the others. I really wanted to do Y Tu Mama Tambien because I've never seen it and it'd be excuse to see it, but I also really want to talk about the others, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it there.
I may have taken Y Tu Mama. I've never seen it either, and it wasn't it and the other movie that I was considering, which I guess I can say it now because no one else is that category's full. I mean, unless someone wants to take a wild card. It was a Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
That's also on my list. Yeah.
It was. I had it listed in comedy too, and I just couldn't. And it was like weird because it's considered like it's categorized as a comedy, but it is funny. So it's like a musical comedy, I guess. But it's also like it could have fit in the drama. I think you could have probably if you'd slid it in the drama, it would fit. I really liked it. I never watched it until yesterday, and but Y Tu Mama wasn't. They didn't even have it at Barnes and Noble, so I was like, well, that one's off my consideration list already because it's on me for never having seen it. But Hedwig's tough though. I really wanted to. I think we could maybe, if we wanted to, pair it with Moulin Rouge if we wanted to, down the road, because there aren't a lot of musicals that come out. And I actually think Hedwig's probably a better movie, but more interesting movie to me.
All right, Slate.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at my list and I'm seeing all these films that I'm gonna die if we don't talk about them. But man, I'm really torn. There in these next 2 categories, I have 2 films in each of them that I'll be happy with either one. But if the other one doesn't get picked, I'm gonna be a little upset. I'm gonna start with I'm Scared Dog and go in the horror, and got to be the number 1 pick in horror, Jeepers Creepers. Just top of my list right there. Not gonna lie, I really want.
Have not seen it.
You've never seen Jeepers Creepers? Oh my god!
I haven't. Never made it to that one.
Okay.
It was one of the first horror movies I remember watching. With Jeepers. I watched it on a bootleg DVD or something.
I specifically remember walking into the living room and my mom watching it on the couch and just sitting down and being mesmerized by it. And I was hooked. An amazing original concept, great performance from Justin Long. All in all, as far as an original horror film with a small budget, I think it was just leaps and bounds above most horror movies that year. And then it really sparked, the sequel. Jeepers Creepers 2 became one of the most successful horror movies of that time. And then it went downhill after that for a lot of piss poor reasons, but we can get into that discussion when we talk about the film. I was really torn between that and 13 Ghosts, though. Like, I really wanted to take 13 Ghosts too, but I felt like Jeepers Creepers needed to be taken. So, with that said, I'm going into sketchy. And, okay. Oh, man.
.com for murder, too.
No.
Part 2.
No. All right. Again.
I mean, you already took Joe Dirt off the board, so.
Hey, you're talking to my guy all wrong here. You do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron. Okay? All right. My number one pick for sketchy is Valentine, but I'm not going to take Valentine. I'm hoping and banking that
Valentine was eligible for that?
Yes, 4.9.
I should have fucking took Valentine.
Well, all right. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it'll either get picked, or if it does not get picked, that come Valentine's Day we talk about it anyway. Okay? Because
it's not a reasonable.
So I'm gonna let Valentine go. I'm gonna let Valentine go. It hurts me to do that. Love that movie, and I definitely think we have to have a discussion about it. But I'm gonna pivot, and I'm gonna go to my second choice because I don't think anybody on earth will pick this movie but me. But as a John Carpenter lover, I have to go with Ghost of Mars. So, I mean, Ice Cube, John Carpenter, Jason Statham, got to go with it.
I'm glad you took Ghost of Mars because it was on my worst consideration as well. And I hadn't watched it until preparing for this, and I was a little taken aback at how unscary.
Yes, it's more of an action film than it is a horror movie. Mm-hmm. If you know much about John Carpenter really was always big into cowboy westerns, really, and space odysseys. So this was like his kind of ode to those. I think that Ghost of Mars is like the movie that he always wanted to make, and nobody ever really gave him the money or funding to do that. And then after his success with Assault on Precinct 13 and, Vampires and Halloween and all the other movies and, Big Trouble Little China, he was able to have the creative control to say, this is the movie I want to do. And he made it. For better or for worse. It's not a great film, but it's a fun film.
It's really fun. It is very fun. It's like, I think it's probably the quintessential kind of like B movie.
Yeah.
Even though it costs like probably $100 million or whatever to make, but
I don't know if it cost that much. I'm actually curious to know what the budget was for that movie. But no, I mean, you get Statham with hair, so, but yeah, Ghost of Mars will be my sketchy category.
Ice Cube at his most Ice Cubiest.
Oh, yes. Yes. Prime Ice Cube. Like, this is really bad acting, Ice Cube.
I'm kind of looking forward to it now.
It's fun. It is fun.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well, I'm going to go into, I guess, my worst of the worst. This is really tough. I really wanted to go with that NSYNC movie, but I've decided I can't do that to you all. So instead,
why did you decide that we couldn't?
No.
Why were you giving us mercy?
Because it's honestly just boring too. It's one thing like if a movie's bad, but you're kind of like but it's just like it's bad and it's boring. So instead, I'm going to go with Glitter, which seems very apt right now since Mariah Carey has managed to reinvent herself as the queen of Christmas.
Hell yeah.
But
she's
that
currently
movie
thawing
also,
out as we speak.
She is thawing out. And that movie also came out I think it was the week after September 11th. And there was like a interview. There's an interview where the director was basically blaming 9/11 for its failure. And we're like, no, I don't think that's why it failed.
Oh,
didn't that movie cause her to have like a mental breakdown?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
I love that.
she kind of dropped off the grid for a while and had to get her life back together.
That
I'm
was
curious
my
for that.
first time, like hearing people talk about or reading about like a movie like just bombing. That was my introduction to bombing.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but oh, I'm up and I have PG list. I've saved my kiddie movie to the end. Because honestly, I mean, the category is really tight. Um, Although both of my top two picks are still available. Now, the caveat for me is, I honestly didn't even consider Princess Diaries, or it would have been my number one. So that's on me. And then, because I was just thinking animated in my head, I had animated for some reason. I was hung up on animation. And Atlantis I hadn't seen, so it honestly probably would have been high too. So my top two are, I might almost like kind of let you help if y'all want to help, because we're going to all be discussing these. So I have Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius is number one, and I have Osmosis Jones as my number two. And I think they're both interesting for different reasons in terms of how a conversation could go. I'm leaning Jimmy Neutron because it's a very straightforward action adventure, like 80 minutes in and out movie that honestly it was eligible in the next best monies list. It made a lot of money. Nickelodeon, it spawned a TV show that lasted a while. Osmosis Jones also spawned a TV show, but I don't know that anyone watched it.
I don't know anything about Osmosis Jones.
Okay, can I tell you everything you need to know about Osmosis Jones?
Please do.
This is what you need to know. Chris Rock, Ron Howard, Joe C. That's right, Kid Rock's little buddy. Kid Rock is also in it, and William Shatner. Yes, Brandy and Lawrence Fishburne as well. I'm voting Osmosis Jones all day.
Based on that, I'm going to vote on Osmosis Jones too.
All right, we'll pivot. We're going Osmosis Jones with my PG sweet category. I didn't rewatch it leading up to this, but I remember liking Osmosis Jones quite a bit as a kid. So, and it's also with further context, Allison. It's about a pill and like an antibody that team up. It's like a animated buddy cop movie that's about health sciences. So
okay.
Inside a body, yes, yeah, inside of like somebody's body.
Like what's that movie with Dennis Quaid? Inner Space. Have y'all ever seen Inner Space?
Oh yeah. I've not watched it. I know I've not seen it, but I know what you're talking about. That movie's probably better.
I used to love that movie when I was a kid.
Hey, Osmosis Jones will be a much better conversation than Jimmy Neutron.
Well, yeah, for me, the Jimmy Neutron thing, it was like leaning into like talking about Nickelodeon, and that would have been like, there isn't a lot of meat on the bone. And I will say, the thing that's interesting about Jimmy Neutron is it's like a very ugly movie. Like the animation, like is clearly like, even for the time, not that great. And it's like the fact, I don't know, I think there's something interesting about like how it looked so ugly and it made a lot of money and people went and watched it. It's like, it just like says something about like, if you just have something that people get into for some reason, it doesn't have to look that great. Fair. But it is ugly. Like, that was the thing that struck me when I was watching. Like, this is really ugly movie. Like, Monsters Inc. and Shrek were playing in the same theaters that this movie played in.
All right, is this our last round? Our wild card?
We're entering the wild card territory. I have. I guess I don't care to talk about out loud because I think we're all going to probably approach this a lot differently. Sounds like you guys are heading sketchy.
No.
So mine, I've talked about Hedwig. That's on the list for sure. A few movies that I watched leading up to this that I really I liked a lot. The movie that I was talking about in Keeping It Real earlier, Bully. That is a pretty brutal movie. and it's hard to. I think it maybe is on Tubi, but like it's a movie that's like hard to track down. If it were to get stripped off a streaming service, like DVDs of it have been out of print forever, and there is a Blu-ray release, but it's like $30 new, and it's been released by like an Australian boutique company, so it's hard to. It would be hard if it were to just get off of streaming all of a sudden. It would be hard to talk about because we wouldn't be able to watch it. So that one's it's really good though. I thought it was really good. The Caveman's Valentine. Have you guys seen that?
No, can't say I have.
It was almost eligible for the IMDb's worst. I think it was like 5.3 or 5.7 or something. It's weird. It's very kind of over the top at times. Samuel L. Jackson plays a like mentally like schizophrenic person, and he's like a schizophrenic homeless guy who lives in a cave, and but he's also like a Juilliard trained pianist, and it's very it's weird. I mean, but I really liked it, so it's under consideration. Hedwig, but all that said, there's two Japanese movies that are at the top of my list. One of them is very influential and important to the horror genre, and the other one is a Godzilla movie. Also horror. As much as I would love to take Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, destroy all or giant monsters, all out attack. It's like a 12-word name for the movie. It's an excellent Godzilla movie. It really is. It's like the guy that directed Shin Godzilla, co-directed Shin Godzilla. It was like his first time. It was his first Godzilla movie. It's really good. I'm going to take Pulse with my wild card, which is internet-based horror movie.
I do remember watching that one.
It had an American remake.
Yeah,
like 2007 or something,
yeah.
2006. I've not seen it. I've not seen the American version.
No, I think actually the American version is the one I've seen. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
What were you thinking?
I'm just looking at all these movies I have left on here that we have not picked, and I'm like, how are we going to fit these movies in? Because there's some important films and big name movies that none of us have drafted. So
yeah, we were too busy thinking about .com for murder.
No, we weren't.
Okay, for my wild card, if you had not picked Bridget Jones's Diary, I was probably going to pick it just because I really want to talk about it.
Well, I can trade you. I can give it back to you if you want.
And then
you can.
I really like my comedies.
Okay, and then if this movie had been streaming, I would have picked it, but I'm not going to make you all pay for it, and that's Tremors 3: Back to Perfection.
Oh, thank God.
If it had been streaming on HBO, they were all streaming for a while, but I'm not going to make you all pay for it. Even though I do own it on DVD and I could lend you copies, should you desire
we
to
don't
watch
want to get it, in the mail and all that.
No, but I'm going to go with probably the most what the fuck mainstream movie of 2001, which is Shallow Hal.
Okay. I was
cannot
wondering
believe
if we would go this whole draft. And
that was I cannot believe that movie was a thing. There's just so much. There's so much to discuss about it.
Oh Lord.
I thought we were headed towards a draft without Shallow Hal, and I was kind of thinking okay.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought that she told us we had better not draft Shallow Hal. So.
Yeah, she told us not to draft it because she really wanted to lead the conversation.
She loves that movie.
I think as the only woman in this trio of podcasters, I think it's fitting that she gets to.
You know how sometimes you see movies that came out 25, 30 years ago, and you're like, well, at the time, people probably thought things were different, and that's one that I remember. I saw that in the theater for some reason with friends, and the whole time I was like, how is this on the screen? How is everyone okay with this? So many people had to sign off on it.
Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Shallow Hal.
Yeah.
Next.
That's going to be fun. Okay. All right. So I will be rounding out the entire draft. And I honestly expected to have a lot less films to pick from than I have on here. Can I just go through some of the stuff that we have left? Like films that I have left that I'm surprised that have not been taken. Along Came a Spider with Morgan Freeman. Royal Tenenbaums.
I think Royal Tenenbaums is maybe the biggest omission from what at least top of mind, like to me so far.
Black Hawk Down.
That was in several of my categories. Wet Hot American
Yes.
Summer.
Yes. We named this Not Another 2001 Movie Podcast, and we are not taking Not Another Teen Movie. Gosh. Down to Earth, Chris Rock, one of my favorite comedies. I've already discussed 61. Blow is another one. Like that. All of these, 13 Ghost, these are all films that like I'm just
Legally Blonde.
honestly blown away.
Legally Blonde.
Oh my God,
That's a
we
hard
didn't
one to
draft
skip.
Legally Blonde?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell.
I had no desire. I thought one of you would take it. I'm not a Legally Blonde fan. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just apologize to the listeners that we probably left out one of your favorite movies from this year. Okay. But that's the beautiful thing about this is I'm sure they will come up in some discussion. I'm sure that some of these films we will still discuss and review. I don't know how we can wrap up this year without them. Another interesting pick, Domestic Disturbance with Vince Vaughn and John Travolta. But I'm going to get away from all of that and go with the film that I truly love. It's like one of the first drama movies that soaked me in. And it's always been like my hidden gem. This has been my number one choice for Wild Card since the moment I had it. It's a William Shakespeare remake. And it's called O, starring Mekhi Phifer, Josh Hartnett, and
Julia Stiles?
Julia Stiles, yeah. Martin Sheen's in it as well. It's, a take on Othello. It's a modern take on Othello. And I don't know how we can talk about this year without talking about this movie. So another film we left out, Save the Last Dance.
That was in my. I didn't bring that up, but it was in my wild card consideration. I had a hard time. The problem I had with that movie is I wasn't sure where to slot it because I think I wanted to kind of. It's a drama.
It's a drama.
I mean, I don't
it's
know
like a
that
romance.
It fits in anything besides drama.
Mm.
And I was like, there's just no way I'm taking it because it's too. That category was just too stacked.
Yeah, my top two choices for awesome sauce drama thriller were Memento and O. I had a feeling that O would not get picked. I was going to save it. But I also felt like that all the other movies that we discussed that haven't gotten picked are definitely movies that I feel at some point will come up that we'll discuss or watch, review, at least the majority of those. And O is one that I think is important and should be definitely thrown in there. So I had to fight for it. That's why because 13 Ghosts was one I really wanted to, I'm not going to lie to you, but
I know you were a big O fan, and I honestly I had no relationship with it whatsoever, so I've not seen it. I mean, I know Othello, but that's I'm eager to watch it. Just to
fantastic movie.
Well, we've reached the end.
Yeah,
and I'm still a little. The Legally Blonde thing is really throwing me off because I was not realizing that in real time, but we really did go that whole draft because I think that's one of the biggest movies of the year, like culturally. I just running through the bling bling category because ahead of the draft we listed a bunch of movies that were eligible for that category just so we could all look at them. Some big ones. Slate, you mentioned American Pie 2 at some point. That's one of the highest grossers in that category, and it's just not there now. Along Came the Spider. You brought up Serendipity was sort of at the cutoff. That was something that I thought we might have come up, and it's I think a rom-com that people really like. Royal Tenenbaums. That's another huge omission. That's probably that and Legally Blonde are probably the two I would say are the biggest.
Well, and my second pick for comedy on my list was Super Troopers.
Oh yeah,
Super Troopers came out 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
No.
I knew that was something you really liked, Slate. I knew it was a stacked cat. Comedy was great.
Yeah, there's my comedy was like 12 deep.
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob.
I had that on my list too.
Yep. I we'll have to. So yeah, again, listeners, like we're going to find ways to try to pair up some other movies because the biggest reason for doing this was just to give us a baseline kind of place to start with what we want to. We know for sure going in, we have 50 odd movies that we are going to talk about. So we can, after this, we're going to look at it and kind of start pairing things up potentially. And yeah, because we can't go entirety of 2026 and not talk about Legally Blonde. Like that would be insane. I'm sure we can find a way to make the Royal Tenenbaums fit into our discussion. There's a ton of these movies that are just too important in terms of what they like. We're going to find ways to, I'm fine if we go the whole time and not talk about Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I'm cool with that. We can ignore that one. But yeah, wow. This is a fun draft. Well, should I recap again for everybody?
I think you could. I'll motion it before we go to the recap. I did take Hannibal. Ridley Scott did Hannibal and Black Hawk Down. You can do a double feature with that if you want to fit that in. I don't know. We can discuss that, off air, but just trying to find ways to make movies fit.
No, for sure. I think that's a good way to go about it. Look at the directors, actor pairings, things that I know you like with Diane Lane. Obviously, we're talking about Hardball and Glass House, but
that's so crazy, bro.
That is crazy.
Yeah, we've somehow got ourselves into a situation with a podcast where we're guaranteed to talk about Hardball and Glass House and not Legally Blonde. I don't know what we've done here, but what monster have we created?
People are never going to tune us in now.
So Slate's movies. Well, actually, you guys, you want to read your own movies? We can do that. I think that's
let's do that.
So we can go in the draft order. So Slate, you went first, so you lead your movies and say anything else you want to say about them while you do it.
Okay, the biggest flop of the draft with the number one pick. I drafted Greg Oden, if you will. I took Atlantis in the sweet category. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
We all were there.
Yeah, yes, we were. I took Memento and Awesome Sauce, Exit Wounds and Booyah, my action, Hannibal and Bling Bling, the 50 Million Grossers, Criterion Collection. I took Mulholland Drive, Keeping It Real, From Hell, LOL. I took Joe Dirt, which I'm glad I took it because it doesn't seem like it would have gotten drafted had I not taken it. So, yeah. And then I'm Scared Dog. I took Jeepers Creepers. Sketchy. I took the John Carpenter Passion Project, Ghost of Mars. And last but not least, I took very excited about how my list turned out. But definitely see a lot of films that I love that had not gotten taken. So,
all right, I'll go through mine. My Criterion. I'm going to go. I don't remember what order I picked these in, so I'm just going to go in the order of the categories you set, Josh. For Criterion Collection, I drafted The Others, which I'm excited to revisit because I remember it was kind of seen as like a Sixth Sense ripoff at the time. I feel like, and people didn't really appreciate it for. It's just a really good movie that had the unfortunate timing of coming out shortly after The Sixth Sense. For Bling Bling, making lots of money, I've got A Knight's Tale. For I'm Scared Dog, Joyride, featuring our boy Steve Zahn. My family flick is The Princess Diaries. For Booyah Action, Evolution. LOL Comedy, I've got Zoolander. Keeping it real, going with Ali. Awesome sauce, our drama thriller. I've got Vanilla Sky. The sketchy IMDb's worst, Glitter. And my wild card is Shallow Hal.
So I'm counting. I don't know. Is Glitter a comedy, Allison?
It's like a no. It's like a musical drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an unintentional comedy.
I'm counting 5 of your 10 picks it seemed like are comedies or at least comedy,
Yeah,
adjacent.
she went
So
very heavy comedy.
you brought the laughs. You're
Brought the lulz.
because the thing I struggled with was I had a really deep comedy list, but I couldn't figure out ways to slot them into other categories because all mine were either pretty, like Ghost World I had on my drama list, but it was because I think it could have fit there too, but it was too. That was another deep category. Mine, I'll read them in the order I selected because I'm the only one who has a sheet in front of me, so I have that advantage. The Fast and the Furious, number 1 overall, and keeping it real. That was not controversial whatsoever. Training Day in Bling Bling. Donnie Darko in Awesome Sauce. The Devil's Backbone in I'm Scared Dog. Swordfish in Booyah. Bridget Jones's Diary in LOL. Ghost World in the Criterion Collection.com for Murder in Sketchy, which is also sketchy because I think it maybe actually came out in 2003. Osmosis Jones in my kid flick sweet category with the help of Allison and Slate. And Pulse, the Japanese horror film, in my wild card category. Really great movie. I don't know if the American version holds up compared to it, but the original is excellent. Came out around the same time out over there as like The Ring, like the original Ring movie. It was very like there was like a stretch of like Japanese horror movies that were all really good.
So for me, I'm curious to know kind of what everybody feels about each other's drafts, as in like, what do you think is the movie you're most excited to talk about that somebody else picked, or you think was their most interesting pick? For me, I think Allison, like for you, I'm really excited about what you're going to do with Shallow Hal. But I think my favorite pick of yours is Evolution, because I definitely saw a world where that was not going to get picked, and I'm glad that it did. So I'm really excited about your choice for that. And then Josh, I think Osmosis Jones is going to be a really fun conversation. I really do. And as somebody who's watched a lot of Guillermo del Toro, I've not seen Devil's Backbone, so I was excited that that's your pick there too as well.
I was going to say, you kind of sold me on Jeepers Creepers. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I mean, I've never seen Training Day, and that's like one of those movies that I'm like, I need to watch Training Day because I know it's so big. So now I have an excuse to watch it. So
it's great. I think.
Oh my God! Yes.
I drafted it, so I'm biased, but I think it's one of the best movies released this year. Arguably, it might be the
King Kong ain't got shit on Training Day.
It's so good. Like that's what strikes me. Like the thing, looking at the Best Pictures nominees, like I think we all have a movie on our list, at least one movie on each of our lists that is, I think, well, I mean, again, I'm coming at the Lord of the Rings thing a little bit different than you are, but like I think Mulholland Drive is better than any movie nominated for Best Picture. I think Training Day is better than any movie nominated for Best Picture, and I think that The Others is arguably better than any movie nominated for Best Picture. So, I think those movies, Mulholland Drive and The Others, I'm really excited to talk about. Exit Wounds, I'm eager to watch. That was, again, I have something on my list that I hadn't gotten around to seeing. And again, I'll echo the Evolution thing. And Vanilla Sky. Vanilla Sky is another one that I was really intrigued by coming into the year, like reading about some different things, and I just didn't get around to checking it out. So
you haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
The ending is a big discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see how it goes, and Joyride too, because I've still not gotten to watch that. And
it's so good. I'm so glad.
And I was just certain you were going to take it, Slate, but I'm glad it got picked because it sounds really cool. Like it seems really cool. So
I'm glad I kind of kept leaving Joyride off the board in hopes that it would get picked so I could get something else. You know, like part of me is like leaving certain movies hoping that somebody else gets them so that I can pick something that probably wouldn't get picked. That's kind of the route I took on some of those decisions.
I do think it's funny that so many, I have all these lists. I kept thinking, oh, this will get picked. This will get picked. But
yeah.
Also, I'm not thinking like either of you, perhaps being male and younger, and a lot of your picks I haven't seen. Because it's maybe not necessarily my demographic, but I'm looking forward to checking it out and having a discussion.
I mean, the thing for me was I'm looking at my own list, and I'd only ever seen 2 of these 10 movies before embarking on this journey with you guys, or three of the 10. I forgot about. I definitely had seen the Osmosis Jones too. So I'd seen Osmosis Jones, Fast and Furious, and Donnie Darko before getting into this exercise, and I really, I did end up, I think I'd seen From Hell. From Hell is actually one of the few movies that I really, really liked that I didn't consider. Again, because I know Slate, so it helped to kind of going in a little bit. Okay, I was pretty sure he would take that. The Atlantis, though, man, the first pick that really was like that.
I
really
blew it.
Set me up. Like I was like, okay, I knew for sure at that point I'm getting Fast and Furious or Training Day. Like, because obviously if Allison had taken one of the 2, then I just get the other one. Like, and those were like my 2. Those 2 and Mulholland Drive were like my 3. Like, regardless of categories, like those 3 were like my white whales, and I just didn't. I could have had Mulholland Drive, I guess, at some point, but it would have thrown off some other stuff. So,
yeah, if I had to do it all over again, I would have absolutely taken either Training Day or Fast and Furious with the first pick. I cannot believe I did that, and I'm kicking myself.
So, what do you think you would have taken? Would you have taken Osmosis Jones if we'd gotten to the end of that category and it played out the same, like with, like, say, Allison had taken Atlanta or Princess Diaries and I'd taken Atlantis? Like, would you have probably taken Osmosis Jones?
I think I probably would have taken Spy Kids, even though I didn't want to. To be honest with you, I mean, it's Robert Rodriguez, Antonio Banderas.
It's a great cast.
Yeah. So I think I probably would have went with Spy Kids. It is probably one of the most 2001 movies of 2001. So
it's got 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There's no shot.
I just looked it up.
I remember even as a kid thinking that movie sucked.
So it had a 92% among critics and a 47% in the audience.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
That's an interesting split.
Don't forget it sparked Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Well, I was going to say it. That was another one that's like, there's like 4 or 5 of those, aren't there?
Well, yeah, you had Spy Kids,
and
then there was Spy Kids 2, there was Spy Kids 3D, I believe, and then Shark Boy and Lava Girl. So, yeah. Yeah.
That's probably due for a remake. They'll probably get around to remaking Spy Kids soon.
Yeah, we can leave it. We don't know. Okay. Yeah. No. So I don't know. Osmosis Jones probably would have been a better pick for me, but I didn't even, for some reason, I don't know why, I didn't have Osmosis Jones on my list. I had Spy Kids as my 3rd choice for that category. I definitely should have went with Training Day or Fast and Furious, but hey, it is what it is.
Hey, you made sure we got Atlantis in. So.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch Atlantis. I've never seen it. I own it. I went on a big kick there a long time ago buying all the Disney Blu-rays, and
I'm excited to revisit it.
This was pre-Disney Plus.
Like, I don't remember hardly anything about it, so I'm excited to revisit it.
All right, so Josh, you get the task of coming up with the schedule for this.
Yeah,
with some input from us.
Yeah, we can talk about it, and as part of our conversation about like double features, we can talk about like I think the big thing, if you're listening to this after most episodes, we'll be able to tell you like on next week's episode we're gonna get back in the swamp with Shrek or whatever. But more prepared podcasters would have picked out a movie to start, kind of the discussion with, but we wanted to see what how the draft played out to see, what we might want to, I think we can. I mean, we all pretty.
We got to start with the number one pick.
With Joe Dirt, right? We're going with Joe Dirt first.
Yeah. I was going to say Atlantis, but Joe Dirt works too.
Get the
Ghost of Mars.
Right.
Let's start him off with Ghost of Mars. Let's do it.
But we'll for this one, just keep an eye, your eyes peeled. We will also at some point launch some social media accounts. As much as I hate to do that, I used to love social media, and now increasingly hate it.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
We will have a YouTube channel, so we'll you can subscribe to that. You'll be able to watch us. You'll be able to watch us talk about Joe Dirt. Think about how great that's going to be. And .com for murder and glitter and not legally blonde. So the only other thing on the kind of order of business is we talked about like letting listeners or our friends, like we have to, given our timetable, we'll have to kind of put out our lists without our names attached to them amongst our peers, and kind of post on our Facebook channels or whatever, and just let people like talk about, like, just get a general consensus of like which one of these lists do you like the most, like which one of these, because I think that's a fun way to for us, having gone through this whole exercise, we can get a whoever, we each come back and kind of share all the feedback, and whoever we just has been decided had the best list of movies, or like the most watchable list, however we want to characterize it, that person gets an additional wild card pick. So that can, I think that's something that just is an award for this exercise that we just went through. I think is other than the award of being in each other's company.
I'm putting a caveat to this, Josh. You have to list what category they were selected in, because the comments section is going to eat you alive, sir.
That's fair. I think that's fair. We'll leave off the order, because I think any list that starts with "I took Atlantis first overall" is going to kill that person.
It's a very important film in cinematic culture. Okay. All right, that's fair. That's fair.
But I think probably including the categories is a good thing, because it gives people a sense too. Because it's like, why do you have these 10 movies? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is .com for murder? Like,
yeah. These idiots chose that over Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Damn right. It's about as funny as Legally Blonde, bro. Unintentionally so. It's we'll get into it. It's I can't wait for you guys to watch it. It's something.
All right. Well, I look forward to how many 50 how many movies we got to watch over the next year?
A minimum of 50, but it'll probably look closer to, I would bet, because I do want to, if we can, keep things to a single episode as much as possible, just to for the listeners as much as ourselves, because again, a lot of these movies are going to warrant like some pretty lengthy discussions, and in our next episode, for the listeners, I'll make sure you get more sense of like what an episode is going to look like. But we've come up with like a format for episodes, like about the actual episodes, that I think is going to be fun for everybody involved. So I look forward to getting those out and getting started. And we'll talk off mic about what our first episode is, and map these out. And Valentine. I'm because February's right around the corner, and I'm just trying to figure out how how are we going to squeeze in Valentine into a double feature. That's our goal. Like, we honestly, .com for murder and Valentine. Maybe that's the way. Maybe they're both about love.
All right.
Valentine is a way better movie. I wish I'd seen that. Valentine is 10 times a more entertaining movie. But
all right, Josh, how are we going to sign off on this podcast?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's one of those things we should have thought about before we started recording.
Yeah,
just say "Okay, bye."
Written down that we need to figure out. What's a good 2000s era peace out?
Well, you could
catch
you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Smell you later. That's like 90s. Oh yeah, I don't know. We need to come up with something though. I mean, oh yeah, I guess we'll plug
Smell you later.
ourselves or we don't. Jesus. I don't know.
Oh.
All right. Well, I've been Allison.
I'm Josh,
I'm Slate.
and this has been Not Another 2001 Movie Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and
Till next time.
Holler back, youngin'. Ooh, ooh.
I wanted to say we'll see you at the movies, but I was like, we're not Siskel and Ebert. Like, I wonder what they thought of .com for Murder.